fourth industrial revolution. Why is it number 4? Let me just give you a couple of colors on history. So the first one was when the human beings started moving from steam power energy from mechanical production. Then when the electrical energy came massively into the industry. Then in the early 60s of the previous century, when the electronics and the IT started massively booming around the population. And what is the fourth industrial revolution? It's all about information. It's all about data. It's all about massaging this data, making insights, analysis, and making the forecasts on the basis of massive amount of data that we generate. I think for the last 15 minutes that you already hear, you have generated at least 10 megabytes of information with your gadgets. 1 megabyte per person, approximately. So meaning that even this room is already filled with lots of information. And if I get it together as this small vote, I can do some insights and say approximately, what is the average age of these people? What are your average preferences? What would you do in the next 5 minutes, preferably? And what would you do as soon as you exit the room? What is your next possible buy? Because some of you, instead of listening to me at the moment, is probably looking on the Amazon or doing some purchases. Somebody is probably booking for some further travels after you're going to finish this, after this study. So this is all about the fourth industrial revolution. How do we get, collect, analyze, and use the data? My colleagues from big research companies have already identified the traces, the features of the fourth industrial revolution. So you can see that we are already facing the massive penetration of internet and cloud services, that we are using the P2p economics. Does anyone use the P2p payments here, like transfer money from mobile phone? Could you please raise your hands? Fantastic, fantastic. We have one banker in here, so his vote is not counted. That's for sure. And I know that we have colleagues coming from far away from the beautiful South Africa. Do we have someone here? Where? Okay, fantastic. So if you know the South African P2P service for the last year, the South African, I think, the investment bank has been recognized to be the world's best. So it's really everywhere. In 2015-2017, we are experiencing the massive penetration of alternative sources of energy. If you have read the news, the Saudi Arabia last year has incorporated the huge investment program, which is going to establish massive amount of solar energy systems in order to cover the whole Saudi Arabian region and the Arabian Peninsula. Internet of Things. Do you have any wearables on you? Any internet wearables? Like bracelets which trace your walking distances, right? Do you use them regularly? And you're definitely interested in watching how are you walking on your mobile phone? Did you ever think that some other people would love to know that as well? How many steps you do per day? Just in order to suggest you the new kickers. You have a? Okay. Okay, it's well known. So advanced 3D printing. Last year I've been to China, by the way, and I've been to a huge exhibition. They have 3D printers everywhere. So if you forget to prepare any kind of exponent, something for your stand, you just make it 3D printed in 10 minutes and just get it delivered. New model of consumptions as a service meeting the model of consumption. Does anyone of you use Booking.com, for example? Yes, you do. So meaning that Airbnb, many of you do. So this is as a service. This is, I just want to highlight here that this is the whole shift of the paradigm. What does it mean? It means that previously our parents and us used to be more proprietary. What does it mean? It means that we used to have our home, our car, we used to have our secured banking account, etc. Who of you have their personal cars right now? Great. Who of those who has the personal cars would love to get the money back and use the car sharing? To sell your cars and start using the car sharing, meaning that 1. Okay, 2. Fantastic. So last year there was 0 car sharing services in Moscow. Now there are 5, meaning that the cost of having your own car, like paying taxes, maintenance, etc., etc., is absolutely incomparable to hiring a car for the amount of time that you really need. Because most of the time, especially when you live in the big metropole, your car is standing in the parking, right? And it's just a waste of money. Probably. I have my own car too. So I'm still on that proprietary side. But what does it mean? It means that from the proprietary, from really owning something, we are moving to using it as a service, to collecting a collective consumption. This is really the change of thinking, which goes through all the new services of the fourth industrial revolution. And I'm highlighting that because this is a very core milestone that we don't want to own anymore. Something which is standalone. We want to use it as a service. What are we going to face in the next 4 years? Advanced robotics and autonomous vehicles, smart materials, biotech, and artificial intelligence. So you might be reading a lot on the news that, for example, a year ago, one Hong Kong-based investment foundation has already officially incorporated the robo-advisor, the artificial intellect, as the part of the board. So the artificial intellect is sitting on the board, I mean not physically sitting, but it is like an algorithmical machine which has the right to vote. When you input the information, the other board members input the information saying, yes, we're ready to go into this investment project. And this robo-advisor has a right of veto. This is officially incorporated. This is just so far one, but it's going to be more and more. This is the tendency. So what are the cross-industrial effects? We're seeing that clients' expectations become very complex, and clients' expectations become very immediate. So if you want to learn something new, let's, for example, I would give you an example. Does everyone know when Innopolis was established? The Innopolis, our youngest city in Russia. No, so you don't need to go to encyclopedia. You would immediately go Google, right? You would go Google, you would check Innopolis, and you will get information in the 5 minutes. So this is another shift of the client expectation. You want the information right now. You want the full picture, and you want it have at the moment. This is the shift. The products and services get improved with the data. So as soon as we know more about your expectations, our expectations, we're all humans. As soon as we know what do we consume, what do we do, how do we trace our walking, right? You said that you're tracing your walking. How do you book your car, book your hotels, etc., the better service we can offer because we have already patterns. And this is fantastic thing as cookie, which is always saved on your gadget, tells a lot to the service provider to give you a very targeted proposal, right? We know that you're going, for example, is anyone traveling to Europe in the next 2 weeks? You are going back home, I expect. Yes? Okay. So which country come from? Spain. Okay, that was my best guess. Let's assume that you are not going to Spain. Let's assume that you are going to Romania. Have you been to Romania? No. Okay. So as soon as you type in Romania, okay, Bucharest hotel in the booking.com, what do you think? What would Booking suggest to you? Just make a guess. It's not a Soviet country anymore. It's the eastern part of European Union. So it would at least suggest you the hotel, the car hire, right? The rent a car. It would probably give you the guide of where to go, right? And now it's even would tell you which best restaurants you can go to, depending on how much you want to spend. So the more information that you are giving to the system, the better is the answer to you. And you basically can plan the whole trip in 7 minutes. Okay. Definitely, in this whole race of information competition, there are winners and losers. So the UBS Bank last year have made a ranking of countries which are mostly prepared to entering the digital information era, to surviving in the fourth industrial revolution. And you can see the highlights here. So Russia is doing very well on this map. But the leaders are Switzerland, Singapore, Netherlands, Finland, USA, and United Kingdom. Are there anyone coming from New Zealand? No. Okay. Anyone from Denmark? Anyone from Switzerland? Singapore? So now we can start joking about these countries. I just made a cross-check. So, okay, anyone from Netherlands, Finland, or USA? Okay, guys, so we're pretty much on the same page. We still have to do a lot to survive in the fourth industrial revolution. But if you want to know who are the leaders are on this slide. Okay, what are the intersection points between Industry 4.0 and hot global fintech trends? So now I would go more into how the framework, how are the trends of the fourth industrial revolution impact the fintech. Just to summarize this small portion. So, fourth industrial revolution is all about data. It's all about your personal data. It's all about making analysis of this information and giving the service on demand, giving you the targeting service as soon as you need it, immediately. This is the key trend of the fourth industrial revolution. Now let's see how it changes the whole financial market system. This is the very complicated slide. I don't like it either, but I need to have something complicated on my presentation. So these are the four trends. The 8 trends on the left-hand side. As we saw it, as I told you, people are becoming more connected to the internet. People are using artificial intelligence. The computing power, the power of the computer is growing tremendously. It can do absolutely amazingly sophisticated calculations right now in minutes. And basically the humans are starting to lose this competition. The Internet of Things is growing, the digital world is growing, and we have received such a new pattern as crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing is basically this shared economy. When we start to use something collectively together, we don't need to own anymore, we can hire, we can share it with a pool of people, right? And this nice circle on the right is telling us how all these 8 trends are reflected in the financial markets. I'm not going to tease you with that small numbers and digits. I will go further on. So how does it change the financial markets? First of all, the world becomes more cashless. Does anyone have cash with you? Like really, 5 rubles? Be honest. I'm not the tax service. Just be honest. I'm not asking you for the source of this cash. Okay, so how many of you have cards, credit cards? Right. So you see, you know what is the cashless world. Can anyone, if I ask you a question, can you imagine a day when you will be traveling to another city without any single ruble or dollar or penny or euro, just having your mobile phone? How many of you would think that the mobile phone is enough? Great, thank you. How many of you would think that the mobile phone is not enough and I still need a credit card? Fantastic. How many of you think that you still need cash? Okay, are we all from Russia? That you still need cash. But you see the trend that the world is becoming more cashless. I can imagine myself traveling to another city, really having my mobile, because I have my mobile wallet there, I have my booking system connected to my wallet there, etc. I have taxi connected to my credit card, so I really don't need any cash. The restaurant waiters, they really don't like credit cards, right? So still need some cash for that, to be thankful. And the cashless world is going through all these trends: mobile payments, streamlined payments, integrated billing, and new generation security. So with using, it's a very important thing. The more information that you are using, the more security you need to make this information safe. Another trend, alternative lending. Have any one of you heard about such a system called Lending Club? Fantastic. You are the banker. Your vote is discounted. Okay, so what is this platform is about? Is basically, I would suggest you really go and do some research afterwards. So basically, is the platform where you as a person don't need to apply to the bank. I don't remember the name of this company in Spain, but in Spain they have the Funding Circle. The UK Funding Circle started operations in Spain last year. So you don't need to go to the bank anymore. You go to the platform, you click you input some information about yourself. In most cases, they know many of information coming from the official tax authorities, etc. And you say, I want to do a master degree in Kazan State University. I need 10,000 euros for that. And the system will verify your credit profile and will tell you, fantastic, let's suggest all the peoples on the right to invest $100 to your loan. So basically, you don't need to ask the bank to give the loan. You are asking numerous number of people to provide you with a loan. And the question is, how are you going to amortize to bring those money back? This is the question for the system. But this is another huge trend, that you don't need to go to one financial institution. You can suggest many investors to invest in your education and your loan. And this is becoming huge. I will tell you the numbers. Let's speak about a couple of cases. This is the magic word which is becoming more and more sound in the last years, called blockchain. Let me ask the respected auditorium here, how many of you have heard about blockchain before? Fantastic. If others are shy to say that they haven't heard, it's not a shame really. So let me ask again, how many of you have heard about the blockchain? Great. A little bit more. Thank you very much. So I would really suggest to learn this. For those who is already bored, go Google and check what is blockchain, okay? So for those who is interested, I would give you some colors. So blockchain is the new information system based on the distributed ledger. Super complex. In easy words, let's compare the blockchain to the management system. I know that many of you study management. So from the management theory, you know that the management systems there are three types of management systems. One is centralized, when the decisions are being made in one point. The second one is decentralized, where there are many decision-making points. The third one is distributed. So this is absolutely relevant to the blockchain. If you compare the blockchain to the management system, meaning the management of the company, right? Blockchain is the same story. It's the management of information. You have the whole network where we are doing a transaction with you, okay? What kind of transaction? What is your last? Let's assume I'm buying a cup of coffee from you, okay? Okay, where you come from? Fantastic. And what's your name? Albina. Very welcome to Kazan. So Albina, let's suggest that I'm buying cotton from you, as you're coming from Uzbekistan. So what do? We are registering to the blockchain system, as well as all the others people here registered to the system. We are doing a transaction. We're signing an electronic contract. And these electronic contracts get a code. Its ID number. And this code has been reflected to all your systems. So you all know the transaction has been made. You might not know the details of this transaction, but you all know that the transaction has been made. What is it for? We basically don't need to interact one-to-one. We don't need anyone coming from, let's say, we are from Uzbekistan, I'm from Russia. We don't need someone coming from Germany to become our mediator to process the payments. Between us, we can do it directly. And most importantly, we cannot cancel our transaction because everyone knows that we did it. So it's a huge anti-fraud or anti-robbery measure. Everyone knows it. And this is becoming more and more popular. This is all about blockchain. Let's forget about all these bullet points on the right. So basically, it's the new system of transferring the data, of transferring the information. And it comes massively to the fintech sector. Why it is important? Have any of you heard about such a financial organization called SWIFT? Yes. So what is SWIFT doing? SWIFT is basically acting as the mediator between the banks, right? Giving each bank a code, and you have to use the SWIFT, and you have to process your payments through the SWIFT. So I would tell you that SWIFT is very nervous right now because blockchain is basically coming to outpace it out of the market. And SWIFT itself is basically incorporating the blockchain right now. So this is important thing is that we are getting rid of mediators. This is the way to do the transactions directly, regardless of how far you are. There are some specialties about the Uzbekistani banking system and the transactions with Russia, but we shall put that aside. Okay, so don't think that blockchain is something brand new. This is the number of startups which are already on the market in US, in UK, in Germany, in Russia, using the blockchain technology. So if you haven't heard about it until now, you will be definitely hearing it. It will ring a bell for you in the next years. Another case, what is changing in the financial market, is the P2p lending. I gave you already an example of lending club. So basically anyone can apply to the system, to this platform, ask for money, ask for a loan, ask for a support or whatever, and the system will suggest a numerous number of people based on their risk profile to invest in you. And this market is becoming very huge. So people from Russia, or Russian speakers, I would pay your attention to the fantastic name called Zopa. People coming not from Russia, after I finish my lecture, ask your colleagues from Russia what does it mean in Russian, okay? I can, for ethical reasons, I cannot explain it here. So Zopa is a huge UK-based, I can stop right here and then you will laugh. Zopa is huge. Okay, it's a huge UK-based lending platform which has emerged about 10 years ago, with a turnover right now about 60 billion pounds, which is working as a lending platform. It was the first lending platform in the world, collective platform. In Russia, we have Loanberry. In UK, there is also Prosper, Funding Circle, Lending Club, and many other platforms. We have colleagues from Alpha Bank, who is now the Alpha Potok, and Akbars, just as a part of the product placement, I have to say, that is doing already its own crowdfunding system. Okay. So let's go further on. Another system. How many of you have started some savings, like for future? Great. Fantastic. So another question. How many of you are planning to start savings? Very well. So for those who has already started and for those who is planning to start, I would tell that there's a new generation of robotic advisors. So you don't need to go to the private banker. You don't need just to put the money to the regular deposit, because what is the average deposit rate in Spain? 1.2%? Small. It's even 0.75. In Switzerland, it's already negative, as well as in Japan. In Russia, it's about 8% right now, in rubles. In dollars and in euros, about 2%, so still worthy. So what does it do? What does it do is you go to the robo-advisor, to the web page, to the landing page, and you say, I have, let's say, 100 euros, and I want to, I don't know, buy a yacht in 5 years, which will be worth, like, let's say, 200,000 euros, and I am going to earn this much, and I don't want to, and I don't like risk at all. I don't like risk. I don't invest in Argentina. I like conservative, AAA Switzerland bonds. So the robo-advisor is doing a very quick algorithmical processing. You can just go to Facebook. It's the best remedy from my board lecture. So the robo-advisor will, based on this information that you are not risky, that you have 100 euros and you want to buy something in 5 years, will give you an investment strategy in 5 minutes that he will suggest you to buy a piece of Eurobonds, a piece of equity, some special stocks coming from US Treasury, for example, super safe, and probably doing some other financial instruments. This is a very huge trend. What is this trend is about? The whole Fourth Industrial Revolution has another important feature. Everything which previously we thought is available only to the high net worth individuals, only for super rich people, only for those people who can use private bankers. So all those expensive services are becoming a commodity right now. Because previously, in order to book a hotel, you had to go to the agent. In order to buy an air ticket, you had to go to the agent. In order to get a deposit, you had to go to the bank. You had to negotiate with the bank. Now it's done everything online, in one click. It's becoming a commodity. It's becoming something of a daily consumption, right? The same story has started with the investment business, is that you may not have, like if you go to the private banker would say, I don't work with anyone who has not less than 1 million euros, right? Now you can go online and say, I have 100 euros, even less, and I still want to invest, and it will give you an instrument to invest. So it's becoming very popular. We have introduced our robo-advisor 3 months ago. It's called Akbars Sovetnik, Akbars Advisor. Okay. This is a very complicated slide. In order to avoid this, we shall show you a small video about how the digital information is being processed in the fintech industry right now. For those, please have a look.
Digital marketing is the promotion of products or brands via electronic media. By using digital marketing channels and methods, you can analyze your marketing campaigns to understand what is working and what isn't, typically in real time. While the internet is the channel most closely associated with digital marketing, other channels are important. Digital media is everywhere. Consumers can access information wherever, whenever, and however they want it, and they are no longer influenced by just what you say about your brand. In fact, consumers are more likely to be influenced by what others say about your brand. The reality is that people prefer brands that they can trust, companies that know them, communications that are personalized and relevant, and offers that are tailored to their anticipated needs and preferences. Digital marketing can help you deliver all that, but there are three main challenges to overcome. The proliferation of digital channels. Consumers use multiple channels and a variety of digital devices with different protocols, specifications, and interfaces. This makes it hard to manage digital marketing efforts. Competition is intensifying. That's because digital channels are relatively cost-effective compared with traditional media, such as print, making them within reach of practically every business. Exploding data volumes. When consumers use digital channels, they leave behind a huge trail of data. Digital data is often not integrated with data from operations and business activities. As a result, many businesses struggle to find the right data for making the best strategic and tactical decisions. Given these challenges, what does it take to get digital marketing right? It comes down to three actions. Managing complex customer relationships across channels, both digital and traditional. Responding to and initiating dynamic customer interactions. And extracting value from big data to make better decisions faster. Knowing your customers is not enough. You must know them better than anybody else so you can communicate with them where, when, and how they are most receptive to your message. To do that successfully, you need a consolidated view of customer preferences and expectations across all channels, not just digital. With this information, you can create consistent, coordinated customer experiences that will move customers along in their buying cycle. The speed and immediacy of digital, combined with the power of advanced analytics, make it possible to measure, monitor, and test campaign performance on the fly to learn what works and doesn't work. This helps you improve the customer experience and marketing ROI. Too often, marketers can't access or make use of all the data necessary to get the best insights. They are often limited to data subsets or samples, which compromises analytic accuracy. To make the best decisions, you need access to all customer data and marketing data to deliver more real-time, complete customer experiences in an agile, cost-efficient way.
So, would you please tell me who knows most about you except for your mother? Your Google account. Who else? Mobile phone. Who else? Okay. I think you have just overestimated him. Obama. Okay. So, sorry. Oh, police officer. Are you meeting him quite regularly? But that's the right information. I would tell you a small secret. 60% of personal information about you is known by your bank. Because the bank knows where and how you pay, what you pay for. The sophisticated banks today, they already know what do you pay exactly for because they can see your receipt in special categories. What do you pay for, like diary, or you're buying a dress, etc., etc. Just imagine 60% is known by the banks. I'm coming from the bank. So we are now building an institute of processing a big data information. Because when we get all this proprietary information of how the clients spend their money, we can do a better suggestion. We can deliver the service when the bank is really needed. And this is all what is digital marketing about. So we collect the data, we see the patterns, we see the insights, and we just collect the proposals from the market and deliver them to the client. Basically, providing you whatever. Providing some information from Barack Obama in order so that you would be more familiar to him. Okay, how do financial institutions react? This is another small chapter in my presentation, and I will explain you how do the banks have to change. And believe me that this is also relevant not only to the banks, but also to the major players on the market coming from FMCG, from industry, etc. The main thing is how do the businesses have to react to the shifting trends in customers' relationship into in the model of consumption, which requires to be able to buy something immediately and something which is needed right now. And how do these big companies have to react? So let's go into some management a little bit. Do you remember Zopa? Okay, you do. So just look at this graph. So the whole financial market of United Kingdom, domestic market, not international, domestic market of United Kingdom is roughly above $63 billion. $30 billion in 2015 has been already taken from the banks by fintech companies, by financial technology companies. Meaning that the financial technology companies are already cannibalizing the banking share of the daily operations. $6 billion has been created by new services, something which was not available in the banks, like for example the robo-advisory or something like that. But just imagine this number has happened only in 2015 and it's going to grow. What do you think the banks would do? Close the branch is the very easy answer. What would you think the banks would do or should do? Sarah, sorry? Fantastic answers. Thank you very much. Where are you coming from? Oh, great. I have great friends in Nigeria, my classmates in Lagos. Are you from Lagos? Okay. Welcome here. So that was a great answer. Any other answers? What would the banks should do? You had an answer, I think. Huh? Became fintech. So if you cannot manage something, you have to lead something, right? So what the banks should do, the banks should actually become fintech. And I will explain you a couple of things. This is another interesting book that I would recommend you to read. Is there anyone from Italy? No, only from Spain. Okay, so this is the book written by Roberto Ferrari, who is the head of the CeBanca. CeBanca is the digital daughter bank of the big media banking group of Italy, and he has written a very interesting book. But the most important thing is in the middle, that there is a new situation right now called fintegration, that fintech is everywhere, and the bank should be fully aware and ready to be financially integrated to the new services. So I would just suggest you to have a look through this book when you have a minute. It's available on electronic things. And what the banks are really doing right now. The banks, one of the strategies that they follow, as well as, I would say again, I'm coming from the banking, it's easier for me to speak from the banking side, but if it's also relevant to any kind of other industry, like FMCG, oil production, or IT, whatever. So the companies are now dividing themselves into two major blocks. One block is run. Run, it's not a daily running, it's running the daily operations. It's doing the everyday routine jobs that it has to do in order to maintain the business. The other thing is change. The other thing is change, and it's all about changing those operations to become more efficient. That's the main managerial model that the fintech companies are following right now. Okay, this is becoming a little bit boring. What about investment in fintech? If anyone thought before that fintech is something very far away, cloud, etc., the numbers give us a different opinion. So the numbers are telling us the investment in fintech is growing tremendously. The leaders are definitely coming from Asia, and you can see that there's the big marketplace in Asia called Zhong'an. There's the big marketplace in China called Chufenqi. I think that there's someone from China. Am I okay with my pronunciation? Pretty much. Thank you very much. So have you ever used that? Those marketplaces? First one. Is it user-friendly? Kind of. Okay. So this company has... this company is called a unicorn. What is a unicorn? It's a company which starts in year 1 and which rises up in its sales in 1 or 2 years. So the clientele curve is just going up very quickly. It's called a unicorn company. So all these companies are the leaders on their markets. And the total amount of investments in 2015 has already exceeded $20 billion US, specifically in the fintech area. What do the banks have to do? The banks are basically incorporating the startup laboratories or the venture funds in order to get all these ideas coming from the market. And I will tell you a small secret. We shall do a small exercise like this in the end of this lecture. So the banks are telling the industry, please change my model. If you have a startup, if you have a great idea coming from the client, just come and tell me, and I will try to make it on my banking platform. The same is relevant to all the major players in other industries. You can just have a look at Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, at everyone. And in Europe, it's Santander, it's ING, it's BBVA, the biggest banks in South America. They all are following the same pattern. And you can see how many startup companies and in different services they are using right now. It's absolutely relevant to Russia, for those who think that we are far away from the fintech progress. So the number of investment in Russia has already exceeded 10 billion rubles, which is telling that we have that much number of fintech companies already working on the Russian market field, which is becoming very popular. So how does it really work? The bank launches the fintech VC, Venture Capital Foundation. It runs or buys a startup, and then, if the startup is doing well, the startup business model is applied to the bank. So the bank is starting to work as the startup. This is the main thing how it works right now. Have any of you ever done something with a startup? You've done. Can you tell us what was the startup about, please?
Thank you. It was a healthcare startup. It was an online service for finding medical care and booking an appointment right from the website.
It's in Tatarstan.
It's in Kyrgyzstan.
It's in Kyrgyzstan. Fantastic. So is it working now?
It's on the stage of the prototype.
Oh, it's on the stage of the prototype. So let's talk further. Maybe we can bring some VCs to you. I've seen one hand from the back. So what startup was your startup about? Shopify. Shopify is the platform. So you did the Shopify. So guys, I would really suggest you to give a very warm welcome to this guy, because Shopify is one of the leaders on the e-commerce platforms right now. Are you extensions? Doesn't matter. If something related to that, you still don't want to have an applause? Yes, because I have friends of mine who are working in Italy who are using your tool to run the e-commerce platform. Shopify, I don't remember the other one, is German, are very popular right now, which are on this market. And definitely, the gentleman tell us about the healthcare platform in Kyrgyzstan. Healthcare is another area which will be massively disrupted right now, meaning that there will be new technologies coming there. And basically, many of our colleagues already experienced that you can book an appointment to the doctor online, that you can see the reviews of the doctor. It's very important to have good reviews right now, because the price of the visit will also depend on how popular you are and what's the good and what reaction you have from users. It's very important. From us, from financials, it's very important how we incorporate the financial application to that platform and to the Shopify platform, because money is behind everything there. So, are there any questions on the moment? How many people would love to leave the lecture right now? Thank you very much. You still need to survive another 30 minutes. You had a question.
I don't need mic, I guess. And I have a question. Okay.
Yes, please.
You
Honestly, it's better with the microphone.
Yeah, my name is Diaz, and I have a question. You've mentioned several times already Internet of Things.
Mm-hmm.
Could you please clarify this statement?
Okay, I will. So, Internet of Things, or Internet of Wearables, is the new tendency which is becoming very heavily invested right now. We're talking about, let's think about the dress. The Internet of Things starts with the dress. So there's a number of microfiber materials which are going to the fashion industry, which allows the material to control the temperature of your body. So this is the microlining, which basically helps you to control the status of the organism. It is definitely linked to some platforms on your mobile, etc. And sometimes it is even connected to your doctoral system. So meaning that if you're experiencing some medical problems, the doctor would immediately know that something is happening to you. This is one application, very simple, very simple. The other applications, maybe some other people would be able to help, to give me some help. What do you think? Do you know any examples of Internet of Things? Huh? Watches, fantastic example. So watches connected to the Apple Watch or Samsung Watch. Who are you? Which? Amazon? Amazon Echo, exactly. Another great example. For example, driverless cars. The cars without the driver, self-operated cars. This is also Internet of Things. Huh? Sorry? Yes, autopiloted cars. Absolutely corrected. Absolutely, the one that is Google currently testing. Google Glass is the Internet of Things. Samsung Glass or whatever, the glasses with augmented reality. So does it answer a question? This is very close to you, much closer than we thought before. Yes, thank you. Please.
All right, my name is Dauda Kazazabak and I'm from the first group. My question is structured in the fact that before the financial institutions began, before the banking system began, we existed without banks before, okay? And now that's from the period of trade and barter, the bars came in, the coins came in, the gold, whatever. And then now we keep seeing that things change every day. The internet technology makes the method of trading quicker, you understand, and easier. So isn't there a risk for the financial institution? Because if tomorrow we wake up and we realize that a company has found a way, you understand, to make sure everybody has his private resources to himself, the only thing that he has to bother about is the taxes from the government directly paying to their own private, like their own sufficient bank is like a personal bank for each person. Since we are getting rid of cash, what's the use of these banks right now? Okay, and then
that's a great question. I'm going to seek for my new employment right now. Would you like to continue?
Okay, and then when we're trying.
So what is the use of the banks right now, and what is the risk for their existence? Is that the right question?
No. I'm going to the end right now. Don't you think it's a better idea for the banks to stop competing with technology and hijack it?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So thank you very much for your question. So actually, that's the question that I would ask you at the end of the lecture. What would the banks do in order to survive? But answering this question at the moment, I would tell you that we are now using a new terminology, calling ourselves not like only a bank, but a banco telecom. Because as you correctly said, and this slide, let me just go back for a second. Where is it? Oh, yes. This slide is definitely telling that the fintech companies are putting the traditional banking service at a huge risk because they're cannibalizing a huge share of their business. And that's why the banks in their traditional way, they are going diversified. They're going diversified. So meaning that they're going mobile, they're going digital, they're going social, they're going cloud, but still there will be some clients who would still love to go to the physical bank and talk to your private banker in person. And the banks the banks do know that they have clients like that, because many of you would not go into the bank in the next 4 years. Does anyone of you have ever opened a bank account without physically going to the bank? Great. How many? PayPal is a bank account. Yes, PayPal is a bank account. So there are at least 5 people in the group who has already opened a bank account without going to the bank. And definitely there will be still the group of people in the next 10, 15 years who would love to go to the bank for many reasons. Number one, for complicated products, for complicated deals and structures. The bank has a huge competences that they have huge knowledge how to transact globally and make complicated structures. The bank would go for complicated questions like heritage, wealth management, etc. The people would still go. But for daily operations, we have to be fintech. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Does it answer your question? So the best way is to become Banco Fintech, Banco Telecom, or Banco Mobile. There's a number of ways of putting that. Okay, so I have one very important video for you to show. And this video will basically, one sec. So, I've just recently mentioned that answering again or referring to your question, all the traditional banking services that we used to are becoming a commodity. So the plastic cards, the banking cards are replaced by electronic wallets. How many of you have an electronic wallet? Quite a few, thank you. The retail banking is being substituted by crowdsourcing. Another trend is that insurance is being replaced by telematics. So the cost of your insurance pretty much depends on how you actually drive. If you drive slowly, accurately, if you get into the accident, you don't get to the accident, if you cross the red lights or you don't, all this being processed. They build the risk profile and tell you that, sorry, you are a very, very sophisticated driver, your insurance will be low. But if you're driving like a crazy, then you will have to pay much higher insurance. It's because you have a higher risk. The brokers and the investment bankers, as I mentioned before, are going to the electronic system as well. So, answering the questions, what is the best way to operate the business in this changing environment, in this fintech era, there's a new managerial, approach, which is called agile. Agile, did you hear about it? Okay. Can you explain what is it? Yeah. Absolutely. The great answer. So basically, agile is relevant to all the industries. And now we'll show you the video coming from ING Bank in Holland, in Netherlands, how they are restructuring their business to be agile. Because the main thing about this new approach is to be quickly changing, to be able to change quickly. Because if the client's request, if the market is changing quickly, the financial institution or any other business organization has to be able to change quickly. And this video will show you how they do this.
The world around us is changing rapidly, and the change is driven by technology. Clients have an increasing number of options in contacting those they do business with. Businesses that must be available 24/7 and provide relevant, top-notch, personal service. That applies to all commercial enterprises, including banks. Digital innovators such as Spotify and Netflix are at the forefront of such developments when it comes to tailoring their service to client needs. They have a clear concept of corporate culture and a defined approach to collaboration processes. They believe firmly in the methodology called Agile. For ING, they are important sources of inspiration in establishing a new way of working together, a new level of servicing clients. The new way of working calls for quicker reactions to changing client needs, less interdepartmental passing of the baton, fewer coordination meetings, more room for initiative, and higher levels of responsibilities for teams and individuals. So, how does it work? The fundamental unit in our future head office organisation is the squad. Squads are self-steering, autonomous teams of up to 9 people, responsible end-to-end for their own specific customer-related mission. Squads are built around different disciplines, different areas of expertise, and different backgrounds. For example, the squad mortgage application concerns itself with developing and implementing the most customer-friendly and most efficient way of moving from first mortgage submission to final approval. And the Squad search engine is dedicated to developing the most customer-friendly and effective search engine for our various digital channels. In Squads, you can expect to find colleagues from marketing, product management, formula management, data analysis, user experience, and IT. Sometimes more of the one, or more of the other, depending on the nature of the squad's mission. Within each squad, product ownership is assigned to one squad member. This product owner is responsible for what a squad does, is in charge of the backlog and to-do list, and determines priorities. This does not mean the product owner is the boss. Coordination between members of the same discipline takes place inside chapters. There is, for example, a chapter Data Analytics, a chapter Customer Journey Mortgages, a chapter Product Management Processes. Chapters determine how jobs should be tackled. The chapter lead is ultimately responsible for this, and also represents the hierarchy for squad members, taking responsibility for personal development, coaching, and the performance management cycle of individual squad members. The chapter lead will perform these duties in addition to their regular day-to-day job in their own squad. But if squads are self-steering and autonomous, how can we ensure coordination between squads? That is where tribes come in. A tribe is a collection of squads with interconnected missions. There is a tribe securities and private banking, a tribe mortgage services, etc. As a rule, a tribe contains fewer than 150 people, coordinated by the tribe lead, who, although not the traditional boss of all tribe members, ensures that knowledge and insights are shared, establishes priorities, and allocates available budgets. The tribe lead also forms the interface with other tribes. And that's it. Well, almost. There is one more vital role, that of Agile Coach, the person who coaches individuals and squads and who helps them to grow and prosper. That, in a nutshell, is how most of ING head office will function in the future. Most, but not all. The Agile approach involves flexibility in adapting to the needs of the moment. The forming of tribes is very much a tailor-made thing, dependent on specific goals and circumstances. And that is an approach that may not suit all business functions, and so a degree of trial and error will help us establish what does and does not work in practice. The Agile approach is in itself agile and not cast in iron. That is what makes it such a valuable tool in achieving our goals.
Okay, this is done by my colleagues coming from ING Bank in Netherlands, and I would tell you that I would really recommend to most of you, after this lecture, at some time, go and read more about Agile approach. Agile approach is definitely not the best approach on the market. It's one of the approaches. But the most important thing about it, and just think about, most important thing is that if you imagine a small startup company or a big corporation, Agile it makes people with different competencies, with different knowledge from different departments work together. I will give you a very good explanatory example coming from Spain, because I see that our Spanish friends are already offline. So coming from Spain, do you know there is a big Spanish company called Alphabet, a car leasing company? You do? Okay. So the CEO of this company is a big friend of mine. We are classmates, Rocío Carrascosa. So Rocío last year has become the CEO, and what has she done? Alphabet, don't mix it with Google Alphabet. It's the biggest player on the market of Spain on commercial car leasing. What has she done? So there was a number of departments like finance, legal, sales, operations, products, etc. She said, we need to know our client better. We need to suggest a better solution for each specific client. So what has she done? She divided Spain into, in her business, she divided Spain into 6 regions, and she has incorporated a team above each region. A team made of sales, CRM operator, client management operator, tax accountant, legal advisor, operations manager, procurator, etc. And she said, now guys, we have a Formula One competition. So which team serves the region better is the winner in getting the bigger bonus. Meaning that the finance people are not more the finance people, they are members of the team. And they have to apply all their knowledge and to actually expand all the boundaries in order to make the team a winner. This is what is Agile about. It's basically about building around one business task, a special task force. Now it's called Agile. Previously it was called a task force, which allows to bring different knowledge to one specific problem and solve it quickly. We have another 10 minutes left, so I will just give you a quick explanation of how the Agile works. It's a very important thing. Does anyone come from IT? Great. So you know what is a waterfall, right? So there were, in IT, there were two major approaches to building business. Two major, very hierarchical, okay? There are many others, just excuse me for that, but two major. Waterfall is when the task is coming. What do I want? Let me assume. I want a new payment method in my electronic wallet. I want to be able to pay for Amazon very quickly in my wallet with one button. So you are coming from business, you are coming from IT, the charming lady comes from IT, you come to the charming lady, you may still see if you keep your seats, you can do it afterwards. So you come to the charming lady and you can tell that I want to be able to pay with Amazon with one click. She says, okay, give me the business requirements, please. And you start thinking, how do I write this whole page of business requirements with all the protocols, with all the integration systems, etc. Then you finally come with the business requirements. And in 3 months after, she gives you something which is called the click in one button, right? This is called the waterfall, when the tasks are coming one after the other. The new approach, which is called, this approach, Agile, also came from IT. What does it mean? It means that we do everything in short sprints, in short sessions. Meaning, I think you come again and say, I think I have a brilliant idea worth $1 million. What is that idea? The idea is to make the Amazon click, pay for Amazon in one click in my mobile banking system. She says, okay, let's try. You start making a quick research on your market. You ask a number of clients asking like, do you think it's a good idea? They tell you yes. Then you make a prototype and it all goes in one sprint. You get with the prototype and you give it to the people and they start looking at it and saying, yes, it's really convenient or non-convenient. So what does it mean for the whole product management system? It means that you make a small, quick task. You make a proof of concept. You make what is called the MVP, the minimal viable product, the prototype, just a visualization of this idea, and you check if it works or not. You don't need to wait for the 3 months for these business requirements to be processed. It's very important from the risk management perspective. You manage your risk differently. What does it mean? When you order something from the IT in waterfall, you really don't know how it will work when it's done. And the risk of failure is high. You wasted time and money. If you order something with IT, it's very important, not from IT, but with IT in Agile, you have a possibility to make a small product, test if it works, and see how to go on. So the risk of failure is limited to 2 weeks or to 1 sprint, meaning that if it works perfectly, then you make a new task and you develop this project. But if it does not work, you either cancel or you change the whole model. Is it clear? Just blink me, yes. Tell me what is not clear about it. Or any questions about it, because this is a very important thing. Let me praise myself and believe that everything is clear. Okay, one of the new trends that coming to the banking market, is my bank. It's not the Santander anymore. It's not RBS or not even Akbar's. It's my bank. And this startup has started in UK. It's called the Atom Bank, which is powered by Metro Bank. Sorry, too many names. But they actually tell you, it is shown on your mobile like your name is Albina, right? It tells Albina's Bank, or the Bank of Albina. So it's becoming more and more personal. Basically, at some moment, you really forget which bank processes your payments. This is just a new trend, which has just started, just for your information. Guys, we're almost done. So, we started with a Telegram vote. I would ask you one more time, even though the first vote was very representative, I would ask you one more time, Vyacheslav, are we ready? Great. So, let's see if those six persons who thought in the beginning that nothing is going to change dramatically, would they think differently? Or maybe those of 81 would think differently. So, the magician of our Telegram vote, I feel how the data is coming to the mobile phones right now. We can start doing it in a very how to say, relaxed manner. So take your mobile phone, open the Telegram. By the way, who have never, while he's doing that, can I ask you for one question? Who have never used Telegram before coming to the summer campus? Okay, that's the best product placement, I guess. Okay, who of those have used WhatsApp? Fantastic, great. Now a very honest question. Who of those think that Telegram is better or relevant to WhatsApp? Well, then meaning that Telegram is doing well. Are we ready for the vote? This is the very moment when I have to tell you an anecdote. Okay, I love this anecdote. It's very ethically friendly. And it's about consultants. So I've been referring in my presentation a lot to different researches done by big four like PwC, Deloitte, etc. And there's a good anecdote about consultants. Probably some of you will become consultants so that you would know. So, sorry? Yes, you will have time to answer questions. Don't worry, we have another 5 minutes. Ready? 2 more. So we have the results. So meaning that 83 think, right? So 83 people think that something's going to change dramatically, and others do not. Okay. Who of you still want to hear the anecdote about consultants? Very few. I will tell you after the lecture, okay? I have to respect the democratic vote. Another thing. As I told you, we're becoming very innovative, and I'm coming from commercial institutions, so very voluntarily, I would suggest to you, including you, specifically, I would suggest to you to use your Telegram to take part in a small competition. So, Vyacheslav will now upload this small competition, and I will ask you, please, come up with any idea where you would think banking would help you. Any customer idea that you would think the bank should do. We shall quickly process the best ideas, and believe me, you will get a great awards in the next 2 days. I promise. Are we ready? So we shall give you 3 minutes for that. That's very important. It has just 4 questions, I guess. Yep. So you can now answer those 4 questions. I cannot promise that we shall process all the ideas right now, but in the next couple hours we shall do that. Yep. Yes, so basically these are the ideas of any banking service or any banking product or anything where banking is related to that you would really suggest, that you would personally want to get from a bank. Like, for example, super running wearable IT connected shoes. Are we okay with time? Yes, great. Do you need some more time? I forgot to say, I would be very thankful if you would do that in English. But actually, you can do that in any language because we have Google Translate. Okay, so let's do this way. I've just got a feedback saying that some of you would like to have some extra time to have a thought. We would ask Vyacheslav to make this option open till the end of the day, let's say till 6 o'clock today. So the 6 o'clock will be the benchmark time, and after the 6 o'clock we shall be not accepting the ideas. But believe me, it will be a very good price. So, generally, did you learn something new today? Thank you. So I would be very thankful if you could do a very warm welcome to an amazing person who helped me to build this presentation, to the head of innovation of our bank, Damir Galiv, who is standing just over there. I would thank the organizers for inviting me here. I was very nervous before coming, and I hope that you liked it just a little bit. Thank you very much for having me here and for being here today. Thank you. And in the end, I would also like to tell you that I hope that you will enjoy your stay in Tatarstan, in Russia, and you would be happy to come back. And at this moment, I would give a small, word, not even a small word. I would say that you will be having an amazing next lecture, which will be done by a dear friend of mine, who is very modestly sitting on the back of the room, who is an amazing personality, amazing professional, great manager, and very, very deep personality in terms of management. This is Igor Inosov, who is the head of Innopolis Special Economic Zone. And you will definitely enjoy his lecture. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Dear participants, please attention. There are 3 lectures will start on the 11:40. Please check the information on your board, and you need to choose one hall in one lecture. Okay? Thank you.